Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Okay, so I planned today to do a book tag video, and I planned to do a book tag video yesterday, and I lapsed, and I was like, no, you've got to get this video. I'm trying to post on a regular schedule again. So I was actually thinking about something, I was not gonna read my meditation book on here. But anyway, I was thinking about this in the car earlier, and so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna kind of talk about it on here in a video and see if anybody else relates to me. I am currently reading Benjamin Alir's The Inexplicable Logic of My Life, which is his new book that he just wrote. And he is the author of Aristotle and Dante Discovered the Secrets of the Universe, which has gotten much praise and amazing reviews and honors and awards in the book community, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this book on Audible, and I love this man's work. Last night I sang to the Monster, one of my favorite books. You know, a lot of his books that I've read are just absolutely phenomenal. And I've talked a lot about him in my videos. At first when I started this book, I just think I was so in love with the language again of his, that he speaks, that I kind of just was taken right away. But now I'm halfway through the book, and it's a little Yawnsville, to be really honest with you. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know if something's gonna happen. I don't know, like there have been some kind of climax periods in the book, but I'm still kind of like, what's going on here? Like, is something gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? You know what I mean? So I was thinking about this today, and I was like, excuse me, do you think it matters by an author which book you're introduced to first of theirs? Does that make sense? This man, because the first book I ever read of his was Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I don't think it really matters what he writes. I will always continue to read it. I think he's a phenomenal writer. You know, John Green, for me, the first book that I read of his was The Fault in Our Stars. Probably, arguably his best work. A lot of people don't. They like Looking for Alaska, and I loved Looking for Alaska. But my favorite is honestly probably Paper Towns. Abundance of Catherines I could do without. But I continue to read his work because of that first feeling that I had on my front porch when I read Fault in Our Stars, and I just literally was so emotionally like driven by it, right? And then I was thinking about, like, you know, I read Will Grayson because of him, and you know, he read it with David Levithan, and then I read, and I loved Will Grayson. I thought it was fantastic. And then I read Boy Meets Boy, and I liked that. Since then, David Levithan has put out quite a few books that I don't love. You know, like Invisibility was not one of my favorite books. Another Day was not one of my favorite books. And I either love him or I don't love him. I won't say hate him, but I either love his work or it just does nothing for me. And I was thinking about this as far as, like, you know, like fandoms or fanning over an author, that do you think it matters that you fall in love with the first book that you read of theirs? Does that make sense? Because, like, typically with authors, like, I just read, you know, a couple months ago, Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I want to read all of her books now, you know, Heartless and the rest of the Lunar Chronicles and all that, because I loved Cinder. But had I read a book of hers first that I thought was crap, would I continue to read Marissa Meyer? Would I continue to look forward to all those books? Probably not. You know, like, I did not love the Twilight series, and I know people absolutely loved them. I have a lot of friends of mine that love the Twilight series, right? But I didn't love the Twilight series. So for me, every time she comes out with a book, I'm not super excited about reading it. I'm like, okay, Stephenie Meyer came out with a new book. You know, like, it's like, okay, whatever, right? But there are other books, like when this book came out, I was so excited I couldn't wait. And a new guy is like Sylvain Neuvel, who wrote Sleeping Giants last year, and this year Waking Gods just came out, and I just bought it. And I was super excited about it, okay? Similarly with, I can never remember her name, but it's the one that wrote Girl on the Train. Why can't I remember who it's by? But anyway, she has a brand new book out called like The Lady in the Water or something like that, and I bought it on Audible because I loved Girl on the Train. But now I feel like my expectations are so high for this author, and I think that's hard for the author too. Like, how do you just keep on turning out great books, great books, great books? Like Michael Crichton, who's one of my all-time favorite thriller writers, like, and Dan Brown, like, every single one of their books, with maybe the exception of one or two that I've read, I really loved all of their books. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, you know, do you think it matters which book of a particular author you read first to fall in love with them? Because if that's the case, then when I go into reading an author, I don't necessarily want to read them in chronological order. I'm not talking about a series, but if they're standalones. I don't want to read them in chronological order. I want to read them by which book was the one that put them on the map. Which book is the very best book that they ever wrote? Does that make sense? Because then I'm going to have this high expectation going into that, and I'll probably continue to love their work and continue to read their work. But I just want to kind of see what you guys felt about that. Like, if you fall in love with somebody's book, their first book that you read of theirs, does that seal it for you? Because it does for me. Like David Levithan, even though I don't like a lot of his books, I will still read everything he puts out because I just love the world of David Levithan. I love the world of John Green. I love the world of, now Marissa Meyer and Benjamin Alire-Saenz and other authors like that. Dan Brown, even though he's not typically what I read, when his book comes out in October, and it is, I'll be there to pick it up. And I'm super excited about that, and I think that's about falling in love with authors, but I was like, there's so many authors that I kind of put down after one book because I was like, I don't really like them. But maybe I didn't read the right book of theirs. Does that make sense? What do you guys think? Do you think it matters? Anyway, it was just something I was thinking about. So what do you think about that? Do you think it matters if the first book you read of an author impacts you or not? And if so, give me some first books of authors that you think I should try maybe as a suggestion. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye.